Anything we can't talk about or shouldn't talk about?
You know what? My life is an open book.
Okay.
School board, anything you want to go
yeah.
back in my
We'll
checkered
go back
past.
to that.
There aren't enough closets to hold all these skeletons, Jeff. And I got nothing on you. You're so squeaky clean. It's
yeah.
miserable.
This is Inside Look. I'm Jeff Lyons, joined today by Pat Coslett. I'm trying to come up, Pat, with how to categorize you. I mean, obviously you run Simplicity Furniture, but that's just a small tip of the Pat Coslett experience iceberg, would you say?
Yes, it is. That's a good way to how about unmedicated ADD?
That is interesting. We can explore that just a little bit too. I don't know how much you want to disclose here on the podcast.
My life, as I told you, open book. When I was a kid, I've always been like this, Jeff. Nothing's changed, but my parents just thought I had worms.
Oh.
They didn't know about ADD, HD, whatever, so I couldn't sit still. And so me and the cat got wormed twice a week, castor oil.
Yeah. Well, that'll do the trick. Probably Fletcher's Castoria back in the day, right? That was an age-old cure. Well, let's open the Pat Coslett book. So start us out. I know you went to Harrison High School.
Yes, sir.
Where'd you grow up? What were you like? What was your family like? That sort of thing.
Oh, my goodness. You know, it's always been furniture. We moved here from Cincinnati back in 1962, and this is home. We just floated down the Ohio River, and Dad was in the furniture business, and L.B. Jones. You know, Evansville was, in the 1900s, was ahead of North Carolina as the furniture manufacturing hub of the United States. We had all these woods, all these hardwoods, had all these good German workers, good ethic, and so he came here and ran a furniture factory and then created L.B. Jones, and I grew up sweeping the factory floor and drinking double cola. And funny sidebar there, Jeff, is I'm in the factory as a kid. I'm seeing all these bottles of warm double cola around the factory. And I said, what's that about? Well, before staple guns, these manufacturer guys kept staples. They kept furniture tacks in their mouth. And they had a magnetic camera, and I used to watch them. They looked like gerbils, jowls, and they would spit the hammer and build the furniture as fast as they can. Where every once in a while, a furniture tack, instead of going east or west, would go south. They'd swallow it. I'm not kidding you. They would swallow a tack. Time out, but not long.
Wow, okay.
Because they were on piecework, and they only got paid by
per
building
each thing you made.
Yes, so they called time out real fast. They went over and got a piece of stale bread and a warm double cola. They drank it, and that double cola and the whatever else might be in that took the sharp edges off the tack.
Yeah.
And went on through the system.
Double cola would do that probably, especially back in the day when it was full strength.
When it was real good strength. So we were bored a couple years ago at the furniture store, and we took an old furniture tack we found in a double cola. It didn't make it dissolve because I think you needed to add stomach acid, but it sure took the rust off of it.
Yeah, I'm sure it did. And off of you too, right? You know, and me. I mean, I drank a few double colas back in the day. So when you're growing up, how old are you when you're sweeping the factory floor and watching these guys swallow tacks?
16, 17. I'm 70 now, so you do the math. I've been in and around furniture all my life. It's just all I know. It's not all I know, but it always seems to come back around to Pat Coslett and furniture.
Yeah, but there's so much more to you than furniture. You know, I mean, you've got the stand-up comedy, you've got the music. You're always involved in some do-gooding. You know, back when your store was next to Cedar Hall, you were supporting them, in some ways. You had Pearl the Pig. You've always had some other sideshow attraction in your furniture stores, right? I mean, you've got the performance venue with comedians coming in and musicians. Well, where does that come from? Are you frustrated something else that is trapped in a furniture store, or how does that work?
That's funny. I'm frustrated for many reasons, but you know what, Jeff? I'm Irish. I did the Irish DNA. I'm 95% Celtic DNA, and we love a good laugh. And I started hanging around Funny Bones when we had a real true comedy club here back in the early 2000s. And I wasn't funny, but I was free and fast. And when a car would break down and a comedian couldn't get there, they'd give me a beer and they'd say, get up on stage and stall. So I learned the hard way working with many funny comedians what's not funny. So I thought, you know what? By golly, we're going to tie this into our store. And when a lot of the fun comedians were in town, they would come to visit our furniture store. And then we started tying in events. And next thing you know, here I am at Simplicity Furniture with a comedy venue that'll hold 400 people. We're tied in with the Bob and Tom Show out of Indianapolis. And we also do Santa Claus the month of December. We had 5,000 kids come through for Santa. So just a normal old furniture store is boring, but not at our place. We just tie it in and make it all fun.
So, why? I mean, what made you? What was the first step you took? I mean, at some point you must have been just on the up and up, legit. Okay, you can buy a couch, a chair, a dinette set, and there was no funny business going on in the store. And then you had the pig. You had Pearl the pig. I remember that. That would wander around. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to trigger you, but you had Pearl, and that was an attraction for kids, right?
Pearl started as we were on vacation, Branson, Missouri, Silver Dollar City Amusement Park, and there's this cute little football-sized pig, pardon the pun, but it became we took her home and a pet for the kids, and like typical kids, a month later they're bored.
Right.
So I felt sorry for Pearl. I took her to the store one day, and Ruth Bays, beautiful retired teacher at Lodge School, said, my kids have never seen a pig. Will you bring Pearl to school? Show and smell. That's what I call it. So it was November 1994. I still have those thank you notes. And I just noticed what joy a pig brought to kids and adults. People ask about her every day, not every other day. Every day they don't want to know about me.
And Pearl's been in hog heaven how long now?
You just took my
I'm sorry.
line.
Did I ruin a punchline?
No, I've got more, believe me.
Okay.
Pearl gave up the ghost in 2007.
Okay, so it's been a while.
It's been a while, but every day people ask her. And I'll tell you who helped me realize what we were doing with Pearl, and I didn't realize it, but the singer Michael Martin Murphy? She ran Call in Wildfire, cowboy singer.
Yes, yeah, I remember that.
He used to sing on our store, and he said, Coslett, what you're doing with this darn pig is what Roy Rogers did with Trigger the horse.
Yeah, Trigger.
People will remember the animal long after they've forgotten you. And for example, like what was the pig's name on Green Acres?
Arnold.
No, it was Ava Gabor. I'm sorry.
I walked right into that.
You might have to edit that one. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
He'll be here all week.
She gave up. Yeah, thanks, folks. Push the salmon. It's starting to turn.
Is this the kind of stuff you were passing off as comedy at Funny Bones?
Well, I did. I bombed so bad. One time I didn't even cash the check. They didn't even pay me. But I tried some baby pigs on the stage at Funny Bones and just kind of got my chops there. And the comedians would help me, Jeff, because they knew I wasn't a threat to them. Mostly comedians, like I paid my dues on the way up. You figure it out yourself. But these true fun comedians, Haywood Banks, Tim Cavanaugh, all these names we know would kind of take me under their wing and help me get to funny.
Yeah, but you are funny. I mean, I've seen you perform, and you've gotten legitimate laughs out there.
Well, thank you. I've also gotten some pitiful.
Yes, I've seen both. I've seen
you have seen me bomb.
Laugh too, but and it had to feel good though.
Oh, there's nothing magic like at the Big Show. The first time I did 4 or 5 minutes of comedy, the very first Big Show we did for ARC.
Yeah, and I remember you were very nervous. You had them written all over your body.
I did have them written on my body.
And you told me, and for those that don't know or need the context, the Really Big Show was a variety show that we did for ARC of Evansville as a fundraiser. And then we had an audience of 1,500. We were in the ONB Events Plaza, and we would ask community people to come on and perform. And you were right at the top of the list because you're a funny guy, and we thought, well, Pat will be good. And you were, for, I'd say 70% of it was pretty good. You had some shaky moments, but you told me you actually bought jokes for that night. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do. I traded jokes for furniture. We delivered furniture to the Bronx in New York to a comedian who wrote those for me.
Is that right?
Yes. And I was so nervous, I thought, I can't get out. So I wrote the jokes on my hands, but the problem was I was so nervous and perspiring that the jokes kind of
they all kind of wore off.
They wore off. And, so then I actually bought 100 jokes. He only delivered me 50. And I said, hey, I need these other. Oh, I'll get them to you. So I knew this comedian was going to be at Funny Bones in the near future. And I was opening for him. So I used some of his jokes.
On him.
On the crowd before him. And he goes,
Right.
well, man, what are you doing? You can't do that to me. I said, until you get me those other jokes, your jokes are my jokes.
Because you couldn't repossess the lazy boy you delivered up
No,
there,
it
right?
was more than, it was a living room suit and then some.
Oh, wow.
But there's something magic, Jeff, about making 1,500 people laugh at the same time.
Yeah.
The comedians that aren't funny, or like pilots. They weed themselves out
Very quickly, right?
very quickly.
So you've been in comedy, you've dabbled in music too. I've heard you're really into bluegrass and kind of Oh Brother Where Art Thou, kind of that era, that type of music. What spawned that?
You know what? That makes two of us, if you remember. You helped us at a gong show for the Parenting Time Center back in 2015.
That's right, at Germania Manacor.
Germania
I think I
Manacor.
played the jug, didn't I?
You-
All I had
you-
to do was blow into a jug.
Yes, but you were so funny. You go, oh gosh, I didn't know we were going to be good. You remember saying that?
Yeah, they were good. You
You
found
were-
some really good music.
We had Marvin Daniels playing the banjo, and my sight-impaired friend Chuck Grady was playing the guitar
Yeah,
too.
and he had performed on the big show a few times.
Yes, he has.
And I met Marvin Daniels at Goldman's Pawn Shop, if I'm not mistaken. I did an out and about feature down there, and he played for me and talked to me and everything. Your name never came up, though. I have to go redo that interview.
That's okay, Jeff.
So-
I'm over that. It's my body burns all the time. I said because people are talking about me.
But you're musically inclined, though. I mean, you like that kind of
You know what? I love it. I love all genres. Now we're doing a thing at the store. Rob Spear, Rod Bennett, Ben Dahlquist, and his fiancee, they're getting married Saturday, Caroline Williams. We're doing a thing called Folk Songs That Built America. 250 songs, 250 years of great down home, made in America folk songs. So we're starting to do that as a concert at our store.
So how do you plan these events? I mean, that must take up a lot of your time versus ordering, another dinette set, right? Who does that for you?
You know what? You're talking to the promoter. You're talking to the master, kind of like you guys around here. I'm the master of ceremonies. I'm the promoter. I'm the bouncer. You should see me
Yeah.
throwing these drunks out. But it's just that's the fun part of the business. It is.
Throwing the drunks out, or
No, I've had some. I always find another big guy to help me
Right.
get the drunks out. But no, I love doing that stuff. And we don't. If we have another venue like this, I don't know. But you get in free to our events forever if you're a customer or a teacher, healthcare worker, veteran, police officer, firefighter. And I think we just added farmers in on the twist. And when we do an event, we're averaging 400 people a night. We already have the tables and chairs. We have a beautiful stage built that'll modeled after a stage in Montana. And we've already got the tables and chairs. We have plenty of comfortable places to sit. Bubbles from the pub. We have his bar in the store, so we have adult beverages.
Yeah, my daughter was shopping for furniture, and I think she got a margarita from you, right? You offered that as an inducement?
Maybe. That's not an inducement. See, when they get one, we get one.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, that makes perfect sense.
They can't drink alone. They would have
now
a problem.
When these performers come, this has to be a one-off, performing in a furniture store, or is it? I mean, maybe not.
Well, we always try logistics. Certain comedians will have for 2 nights in a row. The Haywood Banks, it fills the house both nights. But we catch these guys, coming through. But we're getting phone calls, Jeff,
Yeah.
from all over the country. I mean, from New York to
Yeah.
California.
No, I don't mean a one-off performance. I mean, it has to be unique performing in a furniture store.
Oh,
Like most
oh.
of them are probably in bars or clubs or things
Oh,
like
yeah,
that,
no.
right?
And you know what? They moan and groan and their careers in the crapper. Here I am in a furniture store in Evansville. They can't wait to come back.
Yeah.
They cannot. They're calling all the time. Let's work, when.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's a different venue. It's like listening to comedy or music in your living room or kitchen. That's how comfortable it is.
It'd be that comfortable, and you can stretch out and doze off if you need to, right?
Yeah, we'll thump you on the head. No, it's just good, clean fun.
So you've always kind of looked out for and helped other people. You also put your wings out into politics briefly, I guess we would say, when you were on the school board, right? How did that all come about? I mean, you had to be elected to that, correct? Back in the day?
Yes.
You still do, but what made you want to do that?
You know what? Pearl the Pig and I, Jeff, were in all the schools for years and years, all over the tri-state. I think when Pearl finally gave up the ghost, I made a list of her, where all she had been, and it was well over 100 different schools, churches, nursing homes, the
Sure.
big show. People said, you know what, you love kids. Let's throw your hat in for school board. Throw your hat in the ring for school board. You'd be perfect for that. Well, I didn't spend any money campaigning. Went to a few forums or whatever you call them, and just let people know that I was out there in a 10-person race for only one seat. Pearl the pig, she was my campaign manager. We got like almost 80% of the vote.
Yeah.
It was
Oh,
crazy.
people remember the pigs.
They
See, there you
remember
go.
Trigger the horse and Ava, and it was a tough 4 years because suddenly there's not Pat and Pearl. There's that dang school board member, and people,
Right.
the schools, the teachers quit calling for 4 years. So Pearl and I sat home and I was picketed. I had people out in front of my store saying, "Do not buy furniture from this man. He does not support our schools." Even though he was in Cedar Hall's parking lot that we had donated a lot of money to through the years, and it was just not my cup of tea.
Those were tough times, though, for all school board members, right? Wasn't there some upheaval within the EVSC? I can't remember the particulars, but it seems like we were between superintendents or something was going on where it drew a little more attention to the school board than you might get on just an average year. Am I correct? on
No,
that,
you're
or I
very
can't
much
remember?
correct.
And you don't have to name names.
No,
We're not
no.
going to go. I mean, this isn't what that's about. But you were there during, we will say, some controversial times where your vote actually mattered.
Oh my
You know, like
goodness.
most times, people probably have no idea how the board is voting unless it's a hot button issue. So that had to be demoralizing, though, because here you wanted to help and serve and do the right thing, and yet now you're on the school board and everybody hates you.
Ooh. You know what? That's a great question. I was proud to be part of the school board. We created the first charter school in Indiana, which is the SIG school, which is now one of the top schools in the country, not just Indiana. I was also the deciding vote 4-3 to help make the vocational school happen, which is still a very real entity. So I was in on that, but I also was part of the deal when we had to knock $11 million out of the budget in one night. We were in the red, made some tough decisions. We had to cut it, and then we went back and got some of the things back, some of the programs, but it was a tough 4 years.
Yeah.
So after it was getting close to the end of my term, and people said, "Are you going to run? Are you going to run again?" I said, "Oh, I'm going to run, but I'm going to run RUNNOFT."
Right.
Yeah. So it was. So that was my one and done political aspirations.
But you've had that experience. You know, a lot of people would wonder, you know, kind of what goes on behind the curtain, or would not have the courage to even, you know, put your name in the ring on the chance that you would win.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so was it everything you had thought it might be, or was it your worst nightmare? I mean, how would you sum it up now that you've had many years to kind of digest?
Yeah, I'm trying to get past it. No, you have no idea the big decisions that you have to make almost weekly, monthly, that affects kids and people's livelihood.
Yeah.
And it was tough. There were some tough choices made, and you can't be in business and be in politics at the same time. My father tried to tell me that. I said, "Oh, but the school board's not political."
Yeah.
Yes, it
Did
is.
that hurt your business
Oh
at
no,
that
there's
time?
no doubt about it. It hurt our
And
business.
was your store still next to Cedar Hall? Because then the bridge got shut down, and that pretty well sapped everything, right? When they
Yes.
did the Fulton Avenue, whatever the project was. I remember you talking about the broken bridge and, you know, please come see me. And you couldn't get to your store from any place. You know,
No,
it was
it
very
was-
difficult.
Yes, sir. Between that and the school, between the bridge being down over Pigeon Creek for 3 years,
Right, I remember that.
and then it set for a year. Once it was broken, they wouldn't fix it. They were finger pointing who broke it. So between that and the school board, it was a tough 3 years that eventually led to us closing LB Jones in 2004.
Okay. And let me ask you this. And then after you were off the school board, was everybody then calling you back to come out and entertain at school and let bygones be bygones? Or
No, you know what? I kind of after the school board, after I got out of school, I stayed home, licked my wounds, came out at dark.
Yeah.
You know, with a bag over my head. But you know, it got back to normal life after the school board. It was tough though. Wouldn't do it again ever.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. So you talked about, and I know you've had other furniture stores. You had one kind of up on Vogel prior to Simplicity here.
Yes, sir.
But that's not the only thing you're doing. I used to have the dogs going too. I should have asked you that before we came on.
That's
You
okay.
showed me that when I was out there. You're doing dog
Yes.
sitting, weren't you?
Yeah, well, yes, but actually that's my friend Mark Jewell. That's Daisy's daycare. That's
Okay.
his deal.
Okay, okay.
So we're all kind of in the same corner there. But yeah, no, that's something that Mark started shortly after I did.
Okay, so you're kind of sharing space and resources, or
Yeah, no, actually, he's a whole separate. We're in the front
okay.
part. We're in the old Harp's Pet Shop,
right?
and then we bought the former mattress store next to us. So we're in the two buildings now, and that's where we do our comedy and Santa Claus at Christmas. Did I tell you I had 5,000 kids come through for Santa?
You said that. I was going to ask you about Santa Claus next, and so I'm sure you are very well connected to Santa, knowing you
I've
and
got the inside.
your wish to delight people, entertain them, or whatever. So where did the idea come from?
You know what? I've been friends with Santa a long time. He was Santa at the mall years ago, probably when your children were young. And he was getting tired of traveling the world. That's a big job, traveling the world on Christmas Eve, spreading all those toys, everybody. But he was ready to stay around the Midwest and maybe move his workshop to Evansville, Indiana. So I took him over and showed him our stage. And I said, think about this. Just think about this for a while and get back to me. And I said, we could rock this town with you as Santa. And he really is the world's best Santa, Jeff. He's
heard that.
amazing. People come from all over the tri-state to see our Santa Claus. And he spends his time with every kid. And so it all kind of ties together as we are not just another old furniture store.
Yeah. Once again, so it's the sideshow and the other things that people remember, right?
Yes, sir.
It's kind of like the monkeys in the old Bainham shoe store. We still talk about that. Well, some do. You have to be a certain age to remember that. So, but I wouldn't put you in that category. I mean, that seemed like hucksterism. Yours is actually helping people, right?
Well, yeah, we monkey around. And, something else, I don't know if you knew what I did, but in 2010, 11, and 12, I was with the Evansville Association for the Blind.
I knew that. You were doing development over there, right?
Development, but I said, you know what? They had lost a big contract when Whirlpool went to Mexico. So Carla Hurl, the best boss I ever had, hires me, and I kept saying, you know what, Carla, we're down here. I think there's kind of a void for a furniture store. So by golly, we opened a furniture store up on the second floor of the old factory building. It wasn't air conditioned. It was 100 degrees most of the summer. And I said, the best story wins. We've got the best story. And we sold up there a lot of furniture.
Is that right?
Yes.
And you were down on Virginia and about 2nd Avenue
Exactly.
or somewhere like that. Where the EAP
Second in Iowa, second in...
Yeah, it's a state name. I thought it
Second
was
in...
Virginia.
It's not Virginia. I don't, but we're right there.
Yeah, I know where. Well, you can look it up. You can Google it. Google
Yes,
Maps
but
it.
we sold a lot of furniture there to help keep the doors open.
And quite a departure from the typical nonprofit, development strategy, which would be grant writing and maybe events and things. So you open a functioning furniture store at the Association for the Blind, and I'm assuming you had some of the clients there working with you for you. So it's kind of a win-win. But who would have thought of, other than Pat Coslett, who would have thought of that as a way to make money?
I don't know, but now currently where we are now, I work with the Grady brothers, Chuck and Dan, who both have retinitis pigmentosa. It's a progressive eye disease, and they cannot see a thing. They work their way through that store, Jeff. They have the whole store memorized, and they're the best. Two of the best three men I know, and they're amazing. They can't wait to get to work in the morning or get to the store, and they feel their way through there. And Dan uses a cane. Chuck is too proud and Irish not to use a cane, and you'd never know he can't see. It's amazing. Their attitude is unbelievable.
You've done not only for Arc of Evansville and, of course, EAB you mentioned. I think you've had an involvement with the MDA telethon when we had it here with Easter seals. Where does that come from?
You know what? My younger sister, Sally, was born with cerebral palsy, and she's fought that her whole life. We've also done a gong show or two. We did a gong show for the Parenting Time Center here in town.
Yeah.
And if there's a good cause for people or dogs, I'm your huckleberry.
And you just, that's how it's always been. And Sally, I've talked to her many times about you. Your name always comes up if you mention Pat Coslett to Sally. She always had things to say about you. Generally good. So that's a plus too. So where does it go from here? I mean, you've kind of conquered The furniture side of things, yes, more or less. I mean, you're still standing and,
Oh,
able to
goodness.
get around, and you've got the entertainment realm. So what's the next thing? I guess a furniture store on the moon, probably, right? Or
No, conquering, we're always looking for the next thing. I guess sustainability comes to my mind. But here's another fun thing maybe you didn't know is about a year ago, my son and I, mostly my son, got in the horse business. I don't know if you knew this.
no,
We
I didn't.
started
That's
a
why you're here.
we
This is an
started a ranch.
interrogation.
Okay, we have a ranch out on Workman Road called the K Lazy Sea, and we have horses and goats. We had alpacas and donkeys until one of them kicked my son a few weeks ago, and he went off to an auction. No, it wasn't a glue factory or dog food. No, he went. But so my son breaks and trains horses for people all over the Midwest. He spent time in Montana after college working on ranches, and he really is, Jeff, the local horse whisperer. You should see him with these horses. He was an all-state all-state linebacker for Memorial and then played college football, so he can take a hit. And he gets on these horses nobody else wants a part of, and he gets thrown and he gets back on every
Yeah.
day.
But you've kind of done that too in your life, right? Maybe not with horses, but you've been knocked down a few times and seem to be up.
You know what? It's called life.
Yeah.
And, people, I had some rough go of it through the years, but we're back and we're better than ever.
So what do you do on this ranch? Are you more of a supervisor? Are you rustling up the chow and what do you do?
You know what? I go to work 7 days a week at the furniture store to help feed the horses.
Okay.
Yeah, I let my son do the horses. He gets into the store about 6 in the morning on cowboy time and gets everybody going. And he's a better manager, time equalizer than I am. But so then he does this thing, and then he gets out to the ranch in the afternoon, and you should see him training these horses. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. And had you been around horses before? I mean, I know
Years
pigs,
ago,
right?
pigs. There's a difference.
Yeah, they're small difference.
There's a small difference, but he boards them and trains them and ships them all over the country. And no, I let him do that part. And like I said, I just sell furniture to help feed about 20 horses.
Okay. That sounds good. So one final thought. How would you sum up the Pat Coslett experience? And for our viewers who are tuning in late.
Oh,
Just
golly,
run this.
Jeff. What's next? You remember when they filmed League of Their Own here?
I do.
They had tall, beautiful Gina Davis, and I know they had other tall ladies from Evansville, softball players, et cetera, stand around her on screen so she wouldn't appear so tall. And one of the ladies asked Gina, how do you handle being you? And Gina said something, I remember seeing that quote in the paper. It said, as long as it's not a bad thing, be more of what people accuse you of. And I thought, you know what, I kind of have this class clown, silly guy, thing going. Let's just step it up a little bit. But what's funny is people that know me well, they say, Coslett, you're crazy. Well, you're crazy. And I said, yes. And that's not as bad as people who are crazy, who don't know they are. You're asking me for advice on something. What does that make you if you're asking me for? So I don't know what's next other than Billy Graham said retirement is only rehearsal for death. And I think I already know I know how to do that. So I'm not going to retire. I'm going to just keep chugging and plugging and looking for the next adventure.
Sounds good. And this is one of the adventures on your bucket list, right? Being here on the Inside Look
Oh,
podcast.
you have no idea. If you didn't call me, I was going to call you.
Oh, well, good.
Yes,
And
sir.
I was kept waiting to run into you at the barber shop, and it hadn't happened in like 10 years. I kept thinking, well, no, I don't mean about your hair. I mean, we go to the same barber.
We do go
I think
to
we
the
do.
same barber.
And we've had some of our best conversations while, waiting to get a haircut down
It's
there.
like
So
the Floyd Lawson Quartet.
it really is.
Andy Mayberry.
All right. Pat, thanks so much for coming out and being on Inside Look, classing up the joint here for me just a bit. If you'd like to listen to all of the Inside Look podcasts, you can do that wherever you get your podcast. You can also watch on the 14 News YouTube channel. With Pat Coslett, I'm Jeff Lyons. Thanks for joining.